I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
And with that, we welcome you in. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop, your daily podcast talking all things sports. We come to you inside the Limbeck Lumber Studios. Contractors, they got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects, largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them at limbecklumber.com. Visit me on social media. PuckSports on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Puck_sports on TikTok, and check us out on Facebook. And head to PuckSports.com where you can sign up to become a Pucks Posse member for a cup of coffee each month. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a football Friday tailgate show. We are packed always on Fridays. Chris Egan from King 5 joins us momentarily. We'll talk to our handicapper, Troy Wins. Todd Milles is going to be with us every Friday talking Friday Night Lights football, varsity, WaNews.com, his new high school football website. Bob Condotta, last word with the veteran Seahawks reporter coming up at around later in the show, and then we'll wrap up with Hey, What the Puck. But ladies and gentlemen, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, fresh off his long golf adventure, it is the go-to-guy, Jim Moore. Hello, go-to-guy, and he's brought to you by, wait for it.
Puck, we've had some technical difficulties here in Bend, Oregon this morning, but I'm brought to you by the Angry Beaver in Greenwood, a Seattle favorite for years, now owned by a Coug. Matt Baker, he's turned the Angry Beaver into an official WSU watch party destination. Check out the Cougs at the Angry Beaver tomorrow at 12:30. All kinds of beer on tap, Old Crimson Lager, you name it, at the Angry Beaver in Greenwood. Also want to thank another Coug, Brad Brotherton from Brotherton Cadillac, Northwest and Shoreline, Brotherton Buick GMC, and Brotherton Cadillac in Renton. Whether you're shopping for a Cadillac, Buick, or GMC, Brotherton will make it a simple, comfortable, and fun experience. And a special thanks to my very first sponsor, Brian Turner, great guy from a clean streak in Oak Harbor. He also has a professional Christmas lighting business, Bright Owl Lighting. Puck can vouch for the terrific job Brian and his crew did for him last year when they decorated his house. Commercial or residential, Bright Owl Lighting can do the job for you, extending from Island and Skagit counties and as far south as King County, depending on the size of the job. Just call 360-675-2034 for a free estimate or visit brightowllighting.com.
Why do you sound like you're in an echo?
I don't know. I feel like I've got some sort of issue going on here.
Is the mic not working?
I think the mic's working. How's that? Is that better?
It's okay.
No, that's better. I can tell it's better.
It's not working.
The mic's not working?
That's okay. Well, you know what? It wouldn't be a show if we didn't have some technical issues. The
red light is on.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why he's got not one, but three sponsors that brings you the go-to guy, Jim Moore, every single Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Also on Fridays, though, he is back. He always joins us, ladies and gentlemen. He's the Prince of Puyallup. His name is Chris Egan. He's from King 5 News. You can follow him on X and Instagram. He gets a kick out of this as well. Chris Egan 5. Catch all his work at king5.com. Our Friday visits together, the three of us, brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. Please go book your next large group event at flatstickpub.com. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Jason, Jim, hello. Happy Friday. Happy Mariner Friday.
Feel the excitement.
Blue Friday. Puck, it's interesting watching your intro there on the news anchor that's talking about, let's do it live. Let's do it live. I literally had a moment like that last Friday. The big game, it went late. It didn't get done until 10. I was up top of the stadium. I can't get down because the band has to exit. So I literally get to the live truck at 10:15. We have to send our story by 10:30. So I had 2.5 minutes to write it. And then our editor, our photographer, Louis, did a phenomenal job, had to edit a story to get on the air in 11 minutes. and somebody comes knocking on the van. Hey guys, thanks for being here. I'm like, we don't got time. We don't have time. And I just started
just yelling at some poor person that just wanted to say hello to you, Egan. That's all that person wanted to do. Jim, did you happen to check out his broadcasting debut last week by any chance? Can't hear you. You've muted yourself, sir.
You know what I think? To paraphrase what Jim was trying to say there, I think he's saying it was the greatest broadcast I think I've watched since Keith Jackson and Jackaroo were doing the Cougar game at 82.
He's unplugged his microphone. I don't know what he's done.
Jim,
Give me a second, Egan.
The mic is not working, Jim.
You have unplugged your microphone, sir.
Does he have the batteries going the right way, Puck?
I don't know.
The battery switch,
And here's the best part is he can't talk, but he can hear us probably.
Yeah.
This is like watching your parents really suffer, isn't it?
Hey, Jim, give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Say, hey, wink if you're in a safe place.
So literally, Puck, my mom, 83 years old, wants to watch these King 5 high school games. And so my wife is trying to explain to her at a tennis match how to download the King 5 Plus app. And she's like, Barb, just speak in your remote and say, add King 5 Plus. You can speak into your remote, Melanie?
Well, hey, your parents, this is new technology for them. Jim, do we have you back?
He is not back.
No, he is.
I know you can hear me now.
He's playing along.
There he is.
Hey,
there
he got his mic to work.
I know you can hear me now because the damn thing was muted.
It wasn't mute. It was because you had it unplugged. It's fine. It works now. You're doing great.
Sounds really good now.
Yeah.
I heard you guys mocking me. God, Egan, even you were mocking me.
No, I wasn't. I was saying that maybe the batteries were switched.
I heard you had a horse shit broadcast the other night that you weren't very good. That's what I was.
You know what, Jim? Over 300,000 people streamed it live. So it could have been bad. That's all.
I was one of those 300,000 people streaming that. I'm telling you.
Actually, Egan, I'm lying there because I'm just like bitter, but because my mic doesn't work. But anyway, Puckett told me you were terrific. Well, you handled it like a veteran. You had your sense of humor. You had your serious moments, and you called the play-by-play flawlessly. Is what I.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll tell this. I give credit to a lot of people doing this, but there's a lot of times, Jim, where I had no idea how to say some high school kids' names. So there's a lot more homework needs to go into every game because there was a couple I looked down and I'm like,
it's hard.
And then also, Jim, I'm feeling a little old. But God bless Melanie Egan, who just continues to make me a better person. Like, I'm having trouble reading the rosters up close like this. And she says, why don't you go to the dollar store and pick up some reader glasses? And I'm like, I've never done that in my life, Jim. I've never done that in my life. And sure enough, I put those readers on. I'm like, oh, my God, I can see their names.
You got to put them on. Look at it. You got to put them on. It's terrible.
And anybody that, is trying to fight the old age system like myself, just don't do it. Just go to the dollar store and get some reader glasses.
But hey, Jim, let's praise him for a second. You and I are unprofessional. He's a professional. It was so good. He was he'd morph into Keith Jackson a little bit. I don't think knowing that he was doing Keith Jackson, but he'd do Keith Jackson. But then the quality of it, the camera work, the graphics, just all it was sensational. I had a blast watching it, and the best part about it was a great football game.
Yeah.
It looked like Graham Kapowsin was going to blow him out, and then all of a sudden O'Day comes roaring back, takes the lead, and then Graham Kapowsin goes all the way back down the field and wins the game.
But Jim, there's a reason why people have somebody with them in the booth, because there's several times, and I can't wait for Puckett to join me. There's several times where I just found myself talking too much. And I literally at one point, I think I said, What a game at Art Crate Field. It's 9:30 p.m. right now in Spanaway. Well, it's also 9:30 in Seattle.
Well, I mean, when you're the only guy, though, you have to talk.
I'm just like, what did I just say? I don't even know what I'm saying right now. But oh well, you know what?
Did you go back and listen? Did you go back and listen to any of it and critique yourself?
You know, I used to do that, Jim, a long time ago. I'd like watch sportscasts, and I don't. It's like one's done, flush it, move on to the next one. But yeah, you can definitely learn from it. I think there's some times where I was talking way too much and just let things breathe and let people hear the nat sounds of the crowd and things like that. Which
this won't
you live and learn.
Surprise anybody. I've never gone back and listened to one of my broadcasts. Never done it. This won't surprise anybody because I haven't really improved over the years. So I'm just basically the same as when I started out.
But do you ever go back and read your stuff?
Not after it was published. No, not very often. Yeah. So
this is why your work ethic is second to none.
No, I just want to. I want to be like the poster child for people that have been kind of half-assed successful without busting their ass. Tooth and nail, the grind. The whole thing. Well, we work too damn hard in this country. We do. We work too hard in this country.
We don't nap enough, Jim. We don't. There's not a lot of napping going on.
Hey, I nap. I'm president of the napping club. I get it. I like a quick little 20-minute.
Oh,
nice 20 minutes.
I think, we need to nap more. I think the world needs to nap more. At least America needs to nap more. But
Chris Egan,
Jim, how pumped are we right now? I mean, let's not hide the fact what's happening right now.
Come on.
Look at that.
No, it's just been crazy, hasn't it? The last two nights, 4-hour games going 12 innings, and Mariners coming out on top, and now they're tied for the AL West lead. And my favorite part, honestly, out of all of it, so these guys like Rivas, we all know about him and what a hero he was. Harry Ford last night. How about those two relievers that I didn't even know were on the team? You got them out there. You're looking at Luke Jackson and Castillo, and you're going, okay, who are these guys? And then they did well. I thought that they would not do well in the situation, and they just throw them into the fire, and those guys pick up where all the other guys are leaving off. They
did phenomenal, Jim. That Wednesday night game, Jim, and the O'Brien kid comes in, a kid that we did a story on when he was, coming up through the ranks, and he was just pure nasty. And then you're right, you bring in these two relievers, and I'm like, I don't recall who this is, but I also look at it. Jim, talk about the relievers. The other thing that it's not in the highlights every night. You don't see it in Paul's highlights or Nico's or Aaron's. But if you could just have the best of Josh Naylor at first base and what he's doing over there, this could be one of the biggest pickups, I believe, in recent Mariners history. Not only offensively, but God, he is saving games with his glove over there at first base. I mean, it's just absolutely
we just studied the average at first
him.
base, right? He's been anything but average. He's been way above average. He's just been terrific in every way.
He's been great. He's been great over there. We remember, Jim, we talked about him when they acquired him, and all the word on the street was, even talking to Jim Duquette, who's on every Tuesday. He's like, he's just not great defensively.
Oh,
he's been phenomenal over there and a crowd favorite. Like, the crowd loves him. Like that one the recent home run when he comes off, because remember, this first time he hit a home run, he didn't quite know what to do with the trident. This time he knew what to do with the trident. He's just the type of guy that you need in the postseason, a guy that's got a lot of red ass in him, and it's going to be pivotal, and he's going to be a key component, Chris, as they move forward to the postseason.
No, Puck, off of what you're saying with Duquette and his defense, this is a simple thing for everybody listening and watching is, don't judge somebody off of things you've heard until you actually seen this person up close or watch them up close. Because interesting, Puck, I heard the same things about his defense, and then I got reports from Cleveland. Some of my fellow reporters like, he's not great with the media or the fans, and I'm like, oh my God. It's like this guy's playing like a gold glover, and the fans absolutely love him. His post-game press conferences, I mean, I listened to the entire thing. It's just so I couldn't be more impressed with him right now.
Yeah, he's just a complete player in every way. and to embrace Seattle the way he has. And so
Yeah.
it gives you hope that maybe even if they don't want to spend $100 million on him, they might make an exception for a guy like that. Plus, I believe that that's a great need for the team next year. They don't necessarily have a first baseman waiting in the wings. They traded Locklear to get him. So, it's just win-win all the way around. I love how he's talking about the fans and how it's a hitter-friendly park for him, and the stats bear it out. So everything has just been terrific. That Mariner lineup, can you imagine facing that? We talked about it earlier this year about all the holes in that lineup. They don't have a hole in the lineup anymore. There's not a single hole in that lineup.
Well, one small one, Jim. I would say if I'm Dan Wilson after that Wednesday night game, I'm sending a memo out to 3 or 4 guys. Let's meet here at noon and just work on some bunting. Let's get, I feel like Luke Raley is the only one that can lay down a bunt on that team right now.
Robles can, but a guy like Cole Young, Cole Young's done it before, but yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. Not that we want to bunt a lot, but just there may be a time, we need to lay down that sack bunt. But
I would say, Jim, I do agree with, hey, listen, is there a weakness in their lineup? I mean, I can nitpick, and yes, there is, but
JP.
Well, yeah, but they still struggle immensely with runners in scoring position. They just do. They're like bottom of the league in it.
Well, they were last. They were last before they started the win streak. I'll tell you that. They were dead last.
So there is, and yeah, JP's been rough, and obviously Cole Young. But you're going to see more Leo Rivas at second base. You're going to see a lot more Jorge Polanco over there. Cole Young's probably time is limited here with 15 games remaining. But they got 15 games remaining. 2-3 more games here now with the Angels, and then next week you got the Astros, and it sets up perfectly for them. I believe they've got their 3. Who do they have against the next week? It appears to be Wu, Kirby, and Gilbert. And you feel confident about 2 of the 3.
Well, I don't know about that. I think you feel confident about one of them right now.
One of the 3, really.
Gilbert, I guess.
I don't know if we dream big. We're 15 games away, so we can start dreaming like this and thinking about playoffs. Who is the game 2 starter right now? I'm not sure.
Boy,
Gilbert?
Flip a coin, I guess.
I guess who looks the best down these final 15 games? They're each probably going to get 2 starts? 2 starts? 2 to 3 starts each?
Wu should have about 3 more starts remaining. Kirby's going to have about 3 more starts remaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love Gilbert. Yeah.
I know we're doing this from Seattle, but don't you think they're better than the Rangers and the Astros, and ultimately they're going to finish on top in the AL West?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think they're probably thinking that in Houston and in Texas too.
Well, but that's been the maddening thing this year. They've been better than both those teams all year.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is that there's September 12th, 15 games remaining, Chris, and you're tied with them. I think a lot of us felt that there should have been a lead here. I don't know, 3-4 game lead, and shouldn't be sweating out the division as we wind down the year.
Well, sure, and you unfortunately can't change that. I think are the words. Can't go back. And there was definitely some rough series along the way from this team. But Jim, you're going to be proud of me. Met my son, I think it was last summer he was playing baseball in Vegas. So I took him, he was 21. We went to Caesars. I made one bet, Jim, one bet. I only made one. I'm not a big betting man, but it was the Mariners win the American League West. Still got my ticket here in the drawer.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Still got my ticket.
You got?
Oh, Jim, I'm not saying we're moving, but if it comes through.
No, okay. So then, and Chris, you probably
I'm with you.
Not a good person to ask this question, so I'll direct it to Puck. And if you want to chime in, go ahead, because I know you're always optimistic and positive and sunshiny and all of that. But how much of you still feels like, God, yeah, I know that consciously the Mariners have a better team than the Rangers and the Astros, and it's going to prove out in the end. But then isn't there that part of you that goes, oh man, history tells us that these guys are going to blow it somehow. I wonder how it's going to happen this year.
Well,
of course, it's 40. Hold on, it's 45 plus years of scar tissue. Of course, I'm thinking, how are they going to blow this? Of course,
Jim. I'm more concerned because we've seen this trend as Mariner fans since the late 70s. They've done well, big series. Here comes the weekend. T-Mobile is going to be packed, and
Yep.
what happens? We've seen this story, so I'm just like, just get through this weekend. Let's get 2 or 3. Let's get a win Friday. Hopefully one Saturday or Sunday. But this scares the hell out of me this weekend because,
Of course it is.
I mean, everybody's freaking fired up about this team, and it always goes into the weekend series, and it just scares me right now.
Would you agree, though? And I know for people who are just listening, they can't see my index finger and my thumb and how far apart they are. But don't you think that the difference is this small between having a parade down 4th Avenue after winning the World Series and not making the playoffs at all?
Yes, it is. You're 100% right. It really is. Because I mean, Jim, we barely won 2 games in a row.
That was
exactly.
That was. I mean, think of the last 2 games. They could have easily lost those last 2 games. I mean, easily. They had to go 13 innings and 12 innings. So I mean, their margin of error is razor thin.
Yeah. And it's
going to come down to the last weekend.
It really is. And you just want one of these other, I mean, Woo's dialed in. You just want one of the other 4 pitchers right now just to give us 7 innings one night or 6 solid innings just to feel a little bit more comfortable. The bullpen is nails, but I would love to see Brash and Munoz get a few days off here because they're working them quite a bit right now.
Jim, are you trying to do the Mariners mustache?
Oh, I am. Yes.
Can you lean more? Can you lean closer so we can see that? Oh, yeah, I could see it kind of coming in a little bit.
Yeah, I saw your interview with Brad Adam yesterday, and he was talking about it, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll try.
He's trying to do it a little bit.
It looks. What do you think, Egan?
I mean, it looks good to me. I think some people. I'm not a big fan of the mustache on some people, but I think it's blending in nicely for you.
Let's call it what.
Shave it off.
Let's call it what it is.
I'm going to be in Pullman next weekend. I know my kids will make fun of me, and so yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
Cup weekend next weekend, yeah.
The French tickler. We know what it is. Go.
Okay. What does that mean?
Egan, that's late night Puckett talk right there.
Okay.
Tickler. Let's go. Hey, how about this one? You're going to get a kick out of this. Fangraphs has come out with their odds. Have you guys seen this for the Mariners?
Is this they're ahead of the Astros now?
So the division, to win the division, you know what their odds are to win it? What percentage? You can't make it up.
I'm going to say 56.2.
54%.
54.
You just can't make it up. Playoffs 89, World Series 9%.
You know what? If I'm Jerry Dipoto and they do make the playoffs, and let's just say they hit that 54% win percentage, I hold a press conference. I come out, I just pulled up a sign that says 54, drop the mic, and I walk out.
Yeah, 54, and then ... fuck off.
Well, you're better than them in the American League. I mean, don't you think if whoever they face that the Mariners can beat them? I mean, they swept the Tigers the last time they saw them.
I really do, Jim. Yeah, no, I'm with you with that thing. It's like they're right there to either get in and make a run or may not get in. I mean, it's just scary.
It's completely wide open. I think the American League is as wide open as it's ever been. Like you can make a case for all of them. For every one of those teams, you can make a case for it to win it.
And can you make a case on them beating the National League team? I think you can, can't you?
Yeah.
Well, sure.
I mean, maybe not the Phillies the way they performed in Philadelphia, but who knows? By the time the World Series gets here, they could be okay.
What's going to kill them is the obvious. They just this road. They have got to figure out why they are a different team on the road. They just have to figure that out. So
don't you just want to get to that point though, where Jim mentions the World Series, and can you even imagine the city of Seattle? What could happen? I mean, it would just
no. I can't.
Well, we talk about once in our lifetime. Once in our lifetime, just like the Cougs after 63 years, we were like, God, just go to one Rose Bowl and we'll be fine. We can die tomorrow. My mom called me last night at 11 o'clock. She was just so excited. She's like, oh, Jimmy, the Mariners, wasn't that fun tonight? And she's 96. And I'm going, God, come on, you guys. One time for my mom, Maxine, over there in Fairwood. Let's go.
I had last night, Jim, with the great Cougar Tate Miller, photographer extraordinaire at King 5 Sports. And We were at Monte Kohler. He did get the historic win last night, 395
Yeah.
over Rainier Beach. And we're editing our story. And this is like 2 weeks in a row now. We're editing the crunch time. And he's over there on we edit from cars now. He's got his laptop up and he's got the Mariners game on full blast. And we got like 5 minutes to get this thing in. And he's just pausing to listen. And I'm like, dude, we got to get the story done. He's like,
Hey.
I got to listen to the Mariners right now, Chris. I need to listen to this.
You leave Tate alone. You let Tate get his Mariners action in. How you mentioned it? How was it yesterday, Monty? For those who don't know, Monte Kohler passed Sid Otten most career wins in the state of Washington. Monty's been I don't know how many years. He's 30 years more coaching at O'Day
since 1980. Started head coach since 1985.
An incredible accomplishment, and he passed just an absolute legendary coach in Sid Otten.
Yeah, it was they were in West Seattle taking on Rainier Beach, a very good team, and it was literally 14-8 for a big part of the first half. So I think there's people like, oh gosh, it's not going to happen tonight because O'Day's good. Yeah. I mean, Rainier Beach is good. And then they kind of pulled away in the second half, but Monte Kohler, just a class act. After the game, he's like, looks at Todd Milles and I'm like, all right, let's get this over with. I don't think he wanted to make a big deal about it at all. For him, it's always been about the kids. In fact, to tell you how much at O'Day they really weren't trying to make a big deal about, they do the post-game speech on the field and all the kids talk, all the assistant coaches talk, and Todd Milles and I look at each other like, is anybody going to mention that he just set the all-time wins record? And I don't know if he overheard us or not, but Leo Bancaro, a wide receiver heading to Eastern Washington, stands up and says, hey, let's give a shout out to Coach Kohler who broke the record tonight. And then somebody else said something, but it was like, it was the very end of the speech before anybody even said anything. So just a class act, good human being. And he's going to be around for several. I mean, he looks great out there. I could see him coaching for another 5 to 10 years. So the kids at O'Day, been very lucky to have him, and congrats to him. So,
what is he, Chris? Is he 65 or is he older than that?
I think he's a little old. I'm not actually even sure, Jen. That's a good question.
No one knows his age or his whereabouts. He's like one of those wrestlers: height unknown, weight unknown, age unknown. No one really knows how old he is.
He could be 200 years old, Jim. We don't know. I mean.
He's
he looks great. I'll tell you that.
He does look great. He just loves it. Like he cut him open and outpours. Not just a football coach, but he's a teacher. He likes teaching.
Yeah,
and football is his main vehicle right now.
Oh, and he does a good job. It's a couple other guys that do a good job. I got Coach Knight, Bellevue tonight, taking on Coach Tommy Try, Lake Stevens, couple high schools that have
nice matchup.
Yeah, both high schools have put a lot of kids, not only into college but in the NFL, and it's going to be fun to watch those two tonight up at Bellevue. So I'll probably have to take this off because I can't have Lake Stevens thinking I'm wearing Bellevue colors tonight.
You do look very Bellevue. So Lake Stevens, Bellevue, big game, King 5, big game of the week. What time does it kick off? Where can people watch it?
Yeah, 7:00 kicks off. We'll do pregame on King at 5:45. At 6:45, I'll march with the band down onto the field on King 5. Hoping to maybe get a band surf. The band members are going to hold me up in the air, and I'll surf down to the field. And then at 7:00, we head up to the press box for the big game streaming on King 5 Plus. Just talk in your remote and download the app, according to Melanie Egan, who's gearing up to head off to an inspection right now. So if there's a little noise in the room, my apologies, Jim.
You don't have to apologize for that.
No one cares.
In the background.
Yeah, no one cares. What? Any special guest joining you in the booth?
Well, we're still working on that. It's like quarterback. I talked to Warren Moon and Paul Moyer at the Seahawks game. Both of them were like, yeah, I'll join you. Todd Milles is going to, I think, jump on again. There's a whole different cast of characters that will be joining us throughout the year. Still trying to work out some SAG after union. How long can we have Jason Puckett on the show, Jim, without getting in trouble with the union? But
how about Butch Gontcharoff? Could you get him as a color analyst? And
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Reminisce about the Academic Institute. God, those were the good old days.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't worry, Chris. I'll cut it from the show.
Oh
Jim,
my
you never
God!
read-
Come on! Oh, that was inappropriate. I'm sorry.
Chris, I'll
I
cut it
wasn't
from
the one
show.
over there breaking the rules.
I'll cut it. Chris, I'll
you-
cut.
Puck,
I got
the
it.
show goes.
31-30 mark.
The show goes as is. That's why people.
You think Egan's going to bring it up tonight? Here, it's Chris Egan, big game of the week. We're here at Bellevue. By the way, if you go back 10 years ago, they've had to vacate a number of state titles because of a puppy mill program they were happening.
The more important, what we will bring up, Jim, is something Jason and I love about anytime we head to Bellevue, East Lake, or Skyline. A lot of moms laying out their Lululemons right now. They got their hunter boots. It's getting to hunter
it's
boots
still a little
season.
too warm. A little warm, maybe
little
for
warm
some
maybe
hunter
for the hunter
boots.
boots. Never a little warm for a little Pinot Gris though. In the
Right
in the
there,
little-
you'll see a lot of the Yeti cups of Pinot Gris, strong pour. Haven't eaten anything other than about 3 pieces of lettuce.
Yeah, a couple
And-
pieces of lettuce. Maybe they'll bring a little hummus tray to the game for the tailgate, and they're like,
Yeah.
Chris, keep an eye on number 82 tonight. Little Willie, he's gonna
This
get
one-
some playing time."
This Pinot Gris hits a little hard. I'm on my first week of Zepbound.
Chris, we're doing weighted vest walks tomorrow. We're excited, but we're excited tonight. to watch
Chris,
the
what do
game.
you think of my urban sombrero?
I've got my eye patches on right now. These are to help my eyes.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. Chris Egan tonight. Check him out. King 5 Plus, Bellevue, Lake Stevens, Big 5 or a King 5 big game of the week.
We're gonna head over to the flat stick afterwards and hit some golf balls and drink some cold ones. Jim, you want to join us?
Yeah, great
Perfect.
pizza.
Sounds good.
A great
Go
play. Hey,
food, vegan.
Flat Stick is a great
Cougs.
place. You can watch the King 5 Plus game on their big screen. They'll put it up there for you. Andy at the Flat Stick Pub. All right,
I
Egan.
may say go Cougs. Jim, I asked to do a couple of stories on the Huskies this week, and I have not heard back. Jeff Bechtold, if you are listening,
Wow.
I've sent the email twice, Jeff.
Yeah.
Here I
Oh,
am.
they have a bye. Maybe that's part of
Maybe
the
everybody's gone for the week. Is that what happened? I don't know.
could be.
Jed went back down to Tucson to visit Humberto, so he's a little
Yeah.
busy.
I mean, there's things going on right now. You got Seahawks, Mariners, Sounders. I mean, reporters can't be picky right now, so we're reaching out to you. Reach back to us.
Okay. There he is. All right, Chris, we'll see you next Friday.
All right, guys.
See you, Chris.
Our Friday visits there with Chris Egan as the three of us get together. Big thanks to Flat Stick Pub, flatstickpub.com. Great place for large group events. Great pizza, great beer, great games for the kids. Great place to watch any game of your choosing, especially your Washington State Cougars. Did you play all the rounds of golf like you were going to do?
Yeah, by the way, let me start by saying, yes, I finished 8 rounds in 6 days. We didn't play at Crosswater on Wednesday, so we had to cancel one of the rounds that we were going to play yesterday. So yeah, but 8 rounds in 6 days.
That's how are you holding up?
I gotta say something right now. I feel bad about it because there was somebody who gave me a hard time, Lindsay on Twitter, and I don't blame you for this, Lindsay, if you happen to be listening, saying, God, I can't believe you're bitching about like all these beautiful courses you're playing for free. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, yeah, God, Lindsay makes a good point about that. And it wasn't so much about the courses I was playing. It was just like, 68 years old. I just thought, well, what the hell? Not too many people are playing 9 courses in 6 days or 8 courses in 6 days, and see if I could hold up. And I'm in a cart, so it's not like it's that grueling when you have a cart and there's beverage cart girls out there. And so but still, I was pretty tired by the time the whole thing ended yesterday. But I got to tell the one highlight, I finished up with a 40 on my back 9 at Crosswater, which for me was, I don't want to tell you about the 54 on the front 9, but the 40 on the back 9, I was really happy with.
Hey, that's good. We'll take it.
Yeah.
That's nothing to not be proud of. I like it.
God, it was fun, but I don't think I would do it again. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know you got every round free.
Except for one at Pronghorn.
How did
one
you
at Pronghorn? I had to pay $150. This guy, he rates courses. Is my Austrian friend who was in town for a week. He rates courses for Golf Digest, and so they set him up, roll out the red carpet for him when he comes.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a great gig.
It was
I
good.
didn't notice you bitching about the courses. I think you were complaining about how hard they were.
Yeah. And he insisted on wanting to play 6,500-yard courses, and that's a little out of my golf ability range.
That's a
But
lot.
I did it anyway, just because I didn't want to say, do you ever do that where you kind of will go back a tee box if the person you're playing with wants to do it? Or do you say, go ahead, you play blue and I'll play white?
No, I would generally just play what they want to play. But yeah, I mean, I have a threshold. I mean, ideally it's 66. That's about
Okay, well,
that's
see,
about
still,
it.
you're young enough still to be able to do that. I'm hitting it. The best I can hit it anymore is like 220, 230, maybe if I get some roll out of it.
Then that doesn't make it fun. It also
Yeah.
depends on the course. If I'm going to go play a course like Gamble Sands or even Chambers too, you can play it longer, especially if the weather is good because the ball's going to roll.
Yeah.
So you can. I've whatever the tip out at Gamble is, it is 7 or 69, something like that. But that's not all that difficult, just because when you hit the ball there, it rolls and keeps going. Well, good job. Congratulations to you. I didn't think you'd make it. I'll be honest with you. I thought maybe the back would tighten up a little bit. I don't know. That's a lot of golf.
Yeah, it's a lot of golf. 144 holes.
Good for you.
Yeah. It gave me more respect for those guys that are just walking out there, the tour professionals.
Yeah.
Especially like when it's humid and stuff, but the weather was fine. It was cool. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But I just wanted to point that out to Lindsay about, like, God, you're complaining about all this free golf. Jesus, you're clueless.
Yeah, Jesus, God. I'm on Team Lindsay. All right, we're gonna get our handicapper Troy Wins from TroyWins.com coming up shortly. He'll pay us a visit, give his picks for the week. I want you to make your Jim Moore. You don't got to give your smoking lock of the week, but you can if you want, or use another game. I don't care, but just give me a game that you like this week. I'm gonna give a game. Troy's got his games. He's going to have his lock of the week. He hit on his lock of the week last week. Last time I checked with our Cougs, it was 6.5. I think it's down to 5.5 now. And of course, the Huskies don't play this week. They have a bye, and then it's the Apple Cup next week. Are you going to the Apple Cup?
Going to the Apple Cup, yeah. Driving up Friday morning.
You.
Okay, how do you feel about this?
Okay.
So my wife's birthday is next Friday on the 19th.
Yeah.
And so she's been kind enough to say, hey, why don't we celebrate on the 18th so you can drive up and spend time with the kids there in Pullman for the Apple Cup. You good with that? Do you think she sincerely means that? Or do you think
probably not, but she also gave you the green light, so I say you go.
Okay.
She's not going to Pullman.
And then, so I'm not only putting the Cougs ahead of my wife, I'm putting the Cougs ahead of my 3-year-old granddaughter. There's a birthday party on Saturday, the Apple Cup Saturday, and I'm not going to that.
I probably would have left that part out.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, it's my daughter's fault because she did the same thing last year. She had the party on Apple Cup Saturday last year when it was in Seattle, and I went to the party last year, and then this year she had the party of the same. And she goes, Dad, I didn't know it was another Apple Cup Saturday. I go, have you ever Googled Washington State schedule, honey, and seen that maybe that wouldn't be a good idea? But anyway, she was cool with it too. So I'm going to be a deadbeat grandpa and go, the Cougs are number one in my life anyway. So let's go. Cougs, River and Sky. Grandkids, Kathy.
When that comes out of your mouth, I'm just curious how you think your wife and then kids feel.
Well, they know I'm kidding. I mean, I love the Cougs, but of course, my daughter, my kids, my dogs, my wife. Yeah.
I don't know. Are you still looking for tickets?
I need one ticket.
Oh, you only need one.
Just for me, one. I will buy a ticket if anybody has one.
I've got a ticket for you.
Do you have one?
I do.
Okay. I'll
$50.
buy it
$50.
Oh, $50. See, you found out I was right about that. You went back.
I knew you won. I knew you won the bet. I just didn't. I thought the money was different.
No, I know. And you went back and found out that I was right and you were wrong. It was 50 and not 20.
Yeah. So I'll sell it to you for 50.
So I don't owe you for Cal now. I just owe you 20 for Gino. If I'm a listener, I'm going, what the hell are these guys talking about?
But if I give you the ticket, you got to sit there.
Okay, I'm going to be on the student side. Well, can I get my kids in there? Can they squeeze in?
Can they squeeze in by you?
Are you going next weekend?
I'm not going.
Why?
Because I'm not going. I'm not going to any games. It's just we have a game. We have a football game every week. So I can't make. I think the
Aren't you just like the offensive line coach or something though?
I'm everything, Jim. I am everything. I'm like Tater back in the day. I think the only game I'm going to be able to go to, I think who we playing like in November, Louisiana Tech. Honestly, I think that's the only game I'm going to be able to go to. So yes, I have a ticket for you. No problem. They are yours.
Okay.
I think the Louisiana Tech November 15th is the only game, and then the Oregon State game. The last 2 games of the year. The only 2 games I'm going to be able to make.
Oh, because Ballard will be done by then.
Yeah, our season will be done. But whatever. That's fine. I'd rather be with my kids and kind of watch my kid, coach them, and be part of their lives. Because these are the moments, Jim, you never get back.
I'm going to be with 2 of my kids, two of the 3.
That's true. You win.
They're 21 now, so I think it's going to be a good time.
I'm going to be missing out because it's the outlook of the first game. They're going to be selling alcohol, which again, this is a very odd take. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I'm not a fan because you can't leave the stadium now. I don't like it.
Okay, that's not an odd take because I've had some mixed feelings kind of pop up about that.
Yeah. Hold those mixed feelings in a second. Let's talk to our handicapper if we can. Ladies and gentlemen, he joins us every single Friday, PuckSports handicapper. You can find all of his work at TroyWins.com. Hello, Troy. How are you on this Friday Football Tailgate Show?
Doing good, guys. How you doing? It's sad to see summer went by fast. I know we got some 80-degree days next week, but man, it went by fast. I know we say it every year, but I've got a round at Redmond Ridge this afternoon, Puck, so I'm hoping the weather holds off. We'll see.
Is it? I wonder if it's going to be free like Jim. All right, let's jump into the games. Let's jump into free golf is great. We all love free golf. Let's get into the college football games. I'll go first. Alabama. They recovered after their week 1 loss. They destroyed their week 2 opponent. This week they got Wisconsin. And Troy, they are big favorites, as Kalen DeBoer, 21.5. What do you like?
I like Alabama a lot in this game. I watched Wisconsin earlier this year against Buffalo, and that is a really bad football team. I don't know how Luke Fickell has not been able to do well in the transfer portal. That's a really bad Wisconsin team. I like Alabama in a big way, 42-13. That Wisconsin team can just not move the football. Alabama in a big way, 42-13.
All right, this shapes up as a great game, Troy. Florida against LSU. Florida's getting 7.5, and Puck, I know, feels the same way I do. We want Florida to keep losing because we want Billy Napier to lose his job so that Jed Fish will take the job there at Florida and just turn Husky Nation into turmoil. Okay, so tell me you're taking LSU just to throttle the shit out of them this week.
That's a great take, Jim. Great take. You sound like a positive vibe guy. You know, I like Florida plus the points here. This is an overreaction last week. Billy Napier and whatnot, they lose in the swamp at home to USF. This is an overreaction. This will be a close football game. LSU is a really good team. They obviously looked the part against Notre Dame early on. Against Clemson early on. But give me Florida plus the points. Close game. LSU wins 28-24, but I'll take a touchdown and a hook here.
Disappointing, Troy.
The Irish will be taking on the original 12th man, the Texas A&M Aggies, and Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman favored by 6.5, Troy.
I'm taking the Irish at home. This is a big game for them. They've got to get it done. Texas A&M, to me, still somewhat in that rebuild mode. Their quarterback play has been bad. I like Notre Dame at home in this one. It's going to be a close football game. I think it's going to be right around that number, but I'll take Notre Dame 31-24.
Looks like the game of the week in the NFL, a rematch of the Super Bowl teams last year. Philadelphia -1.5 against Kansas City.
Ooh. I told you guys last week, I'm really down on this Kansas City team. They lost obviously in Brazil last week to the Chargers. They're taking on an Eagle team that got it done despite not playing very good football. I just think without Rashid Rice, they just don't have the weapons. Mahomes just does not have the weapons this year. Defense is a year older. Give me the Eagles. They're the better team here. 28-24. I'll take the Eagles.
The Seahawks are on the road taking on DK Metcalf and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Pittsburgh favored by 3, Troy.
Originally, when I looked at it, I probably would have gone with the Seahawks, but with Witherspoon likely doubtful, and now I'm seeing Julian Love on the report. If both those guys are not going to play, obviously wait till you see the final injury report, but if those guys are both out, I'm going with Pittsburgh. I just think they're the better team. Rodgers looked good last week. I think Pittsburgh's defense steps up in a big way at home. I like Pittsburgh in a low-scoring game, 21-13. I'll take the Steelers.
Interesting AFC West matchup between the Raiders and the Chargers. The Raiders getting 3.5 in the game.
Yeah, this Pete Carroll team's fun to watch. They looked really good at New England last week. Give me the home dog here. Monday Night Football, Allegiant Stadium will be rocking. I like the Raiders in a close one. I think the Chargers probably win this game 27-24. But I'll take a home dog all day here. 3.5. Give me the Raiders.
How many fights and how many players, how many fans get stabbed inside the stadium, you think?
Oof. Probably over under 3.5 on that one. But I could see it happening. I mean, they finally got something to cheer about in Las Vegas. I mean, this is a Raider team that I don't think they'll go to the playoffs, but I think they'll be right on the cusp. Pete Carroll's providing a lot of excitement over there.
Your lock of the week, you nailed it. You had Illinois. It was an easy win, so you're 1-0 on the season. Troy gives his lock every single week. What's your lock of the week this week, Troy?
Yeah, Jim, go down to the local Bend Casino and get this one in. I like the Denver Broncos -1.5 at the Colts. This is, again, to me, it's an overreaction last week. The Colts looked really good at home against the Dolphins, took care of Tua last week. But, again, Daniel Jones at home against the Denver defense that I think is really good. I think this is one of the best defenses in football. I think he'll struggle. Denver played terrible last week, still got the win against the Titans. I think the Broncos are the better football team all the way around. Give me Denver 28-20. They take care of the Colts. That's my lock of the week.
Jim, what do you got? Give me your lock of the week.
Boy, Puck, I don't really have a lock of the week, but I will tell you something about the North Texas-Washington State game. I think we all look at that game, and I think Troy can vouch for something along these lines. You look at North Texas being a 5.5-point favorite, and you go, how in the world could a team like North Texas be favored by 5.5 against the Cougs? Washington State is 2-0 coming off that win over San Diego State. But Troy, Puck, everyone should know Vegas knows what they're doing. And I know that I'm not going to follow my own advice here, and I'm going to take the Cougs in the points and just roll the dice and take my chances. But I would advise people not to do it. North Texas, I think, probably will win by a touchdown or more.
So your lock of the week, you're betting.
My lock of the week's North Texas. I'm going to go with North Texas. Okay?
Oh my God!
North Texas given the 5.5. You know why? Because when it looks too. Okay, Troy, tell me I'm wrong about this.
No, you know it's funny.
If it looks too obvious, to go with one team, you should either go with the other team or not bet it at all. Has it ever looked more obvious to take Washington State in this game if they're getting? Well,
I think it's the perfect sandwich game for the Cougs, right? They come off the big win against San Diego State. I don't care what anybody says, they're going to be looking ahead to the Apple Cup next week. Yep. That's their Super Bowl of the season. That's their spoiler. You got to make the travel into small town North Texas. It's just the perfect sandwich game for the Cougs, in my opinion. So I would be on North Texas as well, without a doubt. I just think they're a good team. I mean, that's a tough place to play. Don't they still have the same? Don't they have the old Cougar offensive coordinator as their head coach?
Yeah, they beat Lamar. I mean, I don't know why it's 5.5.
Lamar or Idaho. Who wins that?
They beat Western Kentucky too, or something.
No, Western Michigan. I would not bet against the Cougs because I'm a Coug fan. All right, my lock.
I'm not betting against us. I'm just telling you.
You just bet against them. You just took.
I'm going to bet on the Cougs.
Just told the public to bet
You just told everyone to take North Texas you just bet everyone. So
I did. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take the under in the Browns and Ravens game. It is 44.5. Give me the under in the Browns and Ravens game. All right, Troy, tell everyone where they can find all your work and how to get connected.
Yeah, guys, it's TroyWins.com. The Instagram, it's Troy West. Everything is documented there. We're on one of our better runs, guys. We went 4-0 last night. We're really clicking right now. Get in the game. It's TroyWins.com. Truly believe it's the best bargain going right now. $100 gets you a month of picks, 30 days VIP. We cover absolutely everything. Even got Mackenzie Hughes top 10 Puckett this weekend, so keep an eye on that. He's off to a good start. But we cover everything: golf, college football, NFL, NBA, college basketball, you name it, we cover it. That's TroyWins.com.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Troy Wins. TroyWins.com, our Puck Sports handicapper. Is there a golf tournament? There's still a wraparound?
They're in the Napa Valley, and there's a lot of big names in the tournament. I don't know what they're.
Oh, that's right, because they wanted to play. Are some of the guys in the Ryder Cup playing?
Yeah, I mean Scotty's playing.
Yeah, that's right.
There's some big names there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, North Texas, huh?
Hey, what do you think about a website if I started jimwins.com? Should I give that a go?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, let's give it a shot. You don't like the North Texas pick at all, do you?
No, I think the Cougs win. I don't know. I mean, I didn't watch North Texas. I look at their stats. I don't know what blows you away about North Texas, but we'll see. We'll find out. It's a road game. First time they've been on the road. I agree. Will they be overlooked? Here's the thing: is that everyone said, "Well, they'll be overlooking North Texas." This is like 80 new guys. They don't know anything about Washington, nor the Apple Cup. Anything. They don't know anything about it. They're all South Dakota State kids. What do they know about UW?
Well,
so why would they be looking ahead? They'd be like, okay, it's just another game.
Yeah, I guess so. But, South Dakota State kids going against North Texas, they're probably used to playing teams like that. So
sure. So we'll see. We'll have fun this weekend watching the Cougs, and then we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you on Monday. We can talk more about the whole alcohol thing because I don't know.
Yeah, what is it? You can't leave the stadium now.
You can't leave now. Now you can't leave.
I know you don't like that at all.
I don't like it at all. The big part of that experience over there, and I come back. Some people don't come back, but I like to go to the tailgate, have one or two, then come back in.
Well, and I tend to agree with you as far as as Cougs, we like to think of ourselves as a big party school and all that stuff, but I think there's going to be some unruly behavior.
Oh, it's I'm
quite a bit more than there was in the past.
I understand the financial piece of it, but I'm against turning something into an NFL crowd. That's what I'm against. And this will turn it into an NFL crowd. And we can talk more about it on Monday. All right. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Fuck. Thanks, man.
There he is, Jim Moore, with us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays as we talk all things. Just all things. Lost my train of thought. It's like we just talk all things. Brought to you by Brotherton Cadillac. Big thanks to Brotherton Cadillac, Angry Beaver, and a clean streak. All right, we continue. We're going to talk to Todd Milles here momentarily. Before we we'll talk to Todd, get updated on all the top games in high school football this weekend. Bob Condotta, last word with Bob Condotta coming up momentarily. But first, a word from one of our fabulous sponsors, and then we'll get to Todd Milles of VarsityWaNews.com, and that would be Flat Stick Pub. Go visit them, large group events at FlatStickPub.com. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at FlatStickPub.com. Well, it's time for Friday Night Lights here with Todd Milles, VarsityWaNews.com. He's going to join us on Fridays. You can follow Todd, his personal X account at Mini Hats Milles, but also his new venture. You can follow them on social media, Varsity Wa News. Also check out their YouTube page, Varsity Wa News. And I'm going to say like Varsity Wa News 5 times in a row. VarsityWaNews.com is Todd Milles' new project covering all things high school sports. He's going to join us on Fridays to preview the top games heading into the weekend. Friday Night Lights. Todd, before we start with the games tonight, let's start with what happened here in Seattle on Thursday. Monte Kohler, longtime great head coach of the O'Day Fighting Irish, finally passed Sid Otten as the Irish defeated Rainier Beach. A huge accomplishment for a guy that has been coaching since, God, I can remember. I think since they had electricity. But a huge victory and a huge accomplishment for Monte Kohler last night.
Just another game, Jace. If you ask Monte Kohler, it's just another game. It's the same as yesterday. It's the same as last week. It's the same as last year. No, Monte might be the most understated great coach we've seen in Washington in any sport. So I'm sitting there in the post-game huddle. I mean, the guys are excited. You know, they had some more injuries, and they're really beat up. And we can talk about that at a later date, but they're really beat up. They had some sophomores come in and play really well and kind of lead them to a win over a pretty good Rainier Beach squad. And so everybody's going around and doing their post-game huddle, Jace, and I'm thinking nobody's going to say anything to Monty about the record. Nobody's going to give him a shout out or anything. And gosh darn it, Julio Lee, they call him Leo Boncaro, is the one that broke rank, man. He at the end of it, he gets up and he points right at Monty and he says, "Coach Kohler, we got to shout out to the record," and they're all yelling all time. And I mean, Monty smiled, but he wants it to go away. He's looking at Egan and I, and he looks at us as a distraction, and it's just this whole thing is a distraction to him. He just wants to coach. But I think, if you get him, if he's alone in his office, he said he was going to be alone in his office last night for a couple hours, uploading film, doing coach stuff. He said he would think about it, and for a fleeting second, I don't know if he has a bottle of scotch or something around at home or something. Maybe he'd take a nice glass of scotch or something, or a glass of wine, maybe a bottle of wine he's been saving. But in his own way, you could tell it meant something to him, especially with the of the company with whom he shared in Sid Otten. They were both 3 at 94. I know he has a healthy amount of respect for Sid and what Sid did at Tumwater, and to finally have the record on his own, I do think in his own way it means something to him. But if you ask him about it, he just, as you said, we want to move on. He wants to move on. He just wants to coach football and see if he can get this team back to another state championship game.
Well, he's one of the standards, right? I mean, O'Day is as a head coach. He has touched many kids' lives. So many players and great players, and have come through that program, and players that haven't gone on to play college football. So he is the premier coach in this state, and it's a heck of an accomplishment that he was able to pass Sid Otten with their victory yesterday. They're over, and as you mentioned, a very good Rainier Beach team. All right, let's get to some of the Friday night games, and if I miss a game, I want you to throw another one at me, or at least for our audience. But some of the top Friday games here this evening across the state of Washington. Let's first start here in Bellevue. We've seen this a little bit more often here recently, at least I think, where we see some of the top teams from 3A and 4A get together. I don't remember seeing this so much in the past, but we got a good one potentially tonight over in Bellevue. 2 undefeated teams. I know they're 1-0. But 3A powerhouse Bellevue against 4A powerhouse Lake Stevens tonight.
Yeah, this is the RPI era as we know it, Jason. We're going to see these matchups in the early going, I think, moving forward. But yeah, these two schools, both state contenders in their respective classifications, have put on some real barn burners the last 3 years. This is the 4th consecutive year that they'll play. As we saw last week with Lake Stevens and Sumner, Lake Stevens can boast some it's amazing speed. I mean, Blake Moser, a quarterback, first-year guy, he's a baseball guy, he throws 93. He runs in the 4.4s and got loose on Sumner a couple times. He's really, really fast, but, Kason Carta at Bellevue's no slouch. He was in the state hurdles finals last year, and they're utilizing him more in the run game at Bellevue. I think we're going to see a lot of big plays in this game. I think the difference is, unlike last year when Bellevue had one of their biggest and best offensive lines in school history, it's Lake Stevens that kind of boasts the bigger guys. Ty Tautolo, a transfer from Snohomish, he's a real wrecker on that defensive line. I think that's going to be the difference, is Lake Stevens can maybe push around that sophomore class. They have a lot of sophomores, a very talented sophomore class at Bellevue. Maybe that will decide this game, but I expect this game to kind of play out like the last 3, Jason. Very close, coming down to the wire. But I like Lake Stevens in this game to go 2-0, and it would really solidify their RPI in 4A as a top 4 team moving forward.
A game I'm excited to hear the results tonight, just because of where they've been here in the last few years, and then the venue that they're going in. Because I've seen this venue, I've watched many games down in Camas. Camas tonight will host Mount Tahoma. That should just be a terrific matchup.
Yeah, I've seen a couple games down there too. I've never seen a home team play faster or have a home field advantage like that. They seem like they play like 5 miles an hour faster at Doc Harris than they do, the rest of Washington. Mount Tahoma has 26 seniors. This is one of the best stories, I think, going on in the state. This is a program that had really struggled since winning back-to-back state championships in 79 and 80. And Keith Terry has really put together a really solid group. The guy I really like is Mika Cordero at quarterback. It doesn't always look great coming out of his hand, or some of the plays you kind of go, what was that? But when the game's on the line, this guy knows how to make plays with his legs and his feet. He's got, they've got 8 linemen that are over 280 pounds, but Camas is a little more downhill blocking, a little more beef on their line. I think this is a really fun matchup, the most intriguing matchup, I think, around the state. Can Mount Tahoma go down there and win a big game on the road in a facility that not a lot of teams go down and win? You've seen it with the Skyview Camas matchup the last few years. As good as Skyview's been, it's tough to win there. Yeah. I give Camas the slight nod because they're playing at home, but it would not surprise me. Elijah Durr, who's a 2-way guy that's going to the University of Washington. I mean, they have some dudes on the outside. Question is, can Camas keep Mount Tahoma? It's going to be a little more ball control that we're used to, like last year when Camas was throwing it all over the lot. It's a little more ball control with Tyson Ruggiero. He's more of a runner at quarterback, not a passer. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think the Camas at home has a slight edge, but it would not surprise me if the Thunderbirds go down there and get a big road win.
Todd, you brought up Skyview, who I've seen plenty of times, taking on that Camas team. They'll be taking on Graham Kapowski. I mean, Graham Kapowski goes from O'Day now to Skyview. How does that one shake out, you think, tonight?
Yeah, it's interesting. To try and get who's the second best team in that 4A GSHL. It's been Skyview, and honestly, over the last decade, Skyview's had the better state appearances, even though Camas has won the league championship every year. But they're down. They lost so many seniors, as you know, Jason. But what surprised me last week was they went to a really good Eagle team in Idaho, a 6A contender in Idaho, and that was a 7-6 game midway through the third quarter. I think it was a blocked punt that kind of got Eagle going, but I think Skyview's big. I think they're good on defense. The question is, can they score enough points to keep up with AJ Tuivasa and that really good passing attack? We saw those guys really kind of pick apart O'Day's secondary last week. Jace Halaz, Case Betts, Messiah Roberson. Can Skyview keep those guys in front of them and not give up the big play? Now they're coming to Spanaway tonight and did beat the Eagles last year, so they're I know the Eagles are motivated to avenge that loss and keep their their 4A SPSL and their RPI hopes on track. But I like GK by a couple touchdowns up here, but it's interesting to see how Skyview's season unfolds over the next 2 or 3 weeks. It could be a pleasant surprise under first-year coach Matt Hamlin.
Okay, before you go and before we wrap up, just give me one quick game, maybe something I missed that should be catching people's eyes tonight.
Well, actually, can I pick a Saturday game, Jason?
Sure, absolutely.
2A powerhouse Linden. We all know Linden. They've done it in 3A. They've done it in 2A, and they come to Franklin Pierce. This is a 2A SBSL league that kind of gets a bad rap. Franklin Pierce was in the state playoffs last year, got to the quarterfinals. And they just are coming off a big win against Sione Kahu and Lincoln of Tacoma at Lincoln, a 3A perennial playoff team. If Franklin Pierce wants to make a statement in 2A as a viable state contender, this is a good way to do that at home on Saturday. They play in the afternoon. Linden was all juniors last year, so senior led, and obviously they can win it. They know how to win state championships, and I know that Blake Van Dalen, the coach up there, really likes this team moving forward.
Friday Night Lights with Todd Milles. Every Friday, he'll be breaking down the top games in high school football for Friday and the weekend. You can follow him on X at Mini Hats Milles. Also, his new venture covering high school sports, which is terrific. I mean, from all the articles to the YouTube, podcast, everything. VarsityWaNews.com. Follow him on X at VarsityWaNews. Also, check out all his work on his YouTube page, Varsity One News. Thank you, Todd. We'll talk to you next week on another edition of Friday Night Lights. Appreciate it.
See you next week, Jason. Thanks.
Todd Milles, again, will be joining us every Friday throughout the football season, Friday Night Lights. And again, his new website, VarsityWaNews.com, is terrific. If you're a high school football fan, you've been begging for even more coverage than what you already receive, because there's a lot of great sites out there still. John Manley does a great job there at the Tacoma News Tribune. But Todd Milles, great site, VarsityWaNews.com. Follow him on X at Varsity One News and check out their YouTube page at Varsity One News as well. He'll be in attendance tonight watching Bellevue take on Lake Stevens, and that again is the King 5 big game of the week there as well. Our Friday Football Tailgate Show continues, but before I do that, I wanted to mention also we have a viewer listener who's been watching forever, and Scott, who does a great job. He's a very funny dude, and they do a tremendous job up north and of covering high school sports. And they've got a game going on tonight, Glacier Peak against Snohomish. You've probably seen their work around town. STSPN.com, STSPN.com, which is a terrific high school football website where they stream games there on YouTube. And tonight, I wanted to mention they've got Glacier Peak there against Snohomish. Our Friday Football Tailgate Show continues. We give the last word to Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times. He joins us every single week talking Seahawks. Again, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
You know that if you prepare well, your team is probably going to play well. You're not always going to win, but they're going to play hard. And they're going to go out there and give good performance. You can live with that.
Today we're going to talk about our next opponent.
And we welcome you in. It's the last word with Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times, talking all things Seahawks football before their matchup this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's all brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Bodie's Zaffa, Rogers Pilsner, and their new tavern beer. Tasting room open and beer garden, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit them at georgetownbeer.com. I told you before we started, I have a surprise little open for you. And that just brings back memories. Don't you just miss Chuck Knox and Ground Chuck? God, those were great times.
Ground Chuck, and yet, 1984, I mean, Dave Craig had one of the best passing years in team history. I mean, it wasn't, I think people maybe remember it a little bit differently than some of the things were, but Steve Largent was setting receiving records left and right during that time. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that was a very entertaining era of Seahawks football. And talk about unpredictable. You never really knew what was going to happen. They had some bizarre kind of losing streaks in the middle of some of those seasons, but then somehow, made the playoffs 4 out of 6 times. The first 4 times they made the playoffs.
I think Chuck Knox would like this, new era of Seahawks football. I think he'd like Mike McDonald a lot. I think he would like this recommitment to running the ball and using a fullback. I think he would be proud of what the vision of this new look Seahawks team is.
For sure. He definitely tried to build it around the ground game and the running attack. And the first big move they made was, the first really significant thing he did was go trade up to get Kurt Warner and get a running back and do that in 1983 at the end, especially. It worked really spectacularly and kept trying to had Warner for quite a while there, obviously, and he's in the Ring of Honor now. So yeah, for sure. I think he would definitely like that. They definitely built a lot around defense. It was different, a little bit different then, but they had all the turnovers and interceptions. You just can't do that anymore. Teams don't put the ball at risk the way that they did back then. But they had 4 pick sixes in a game once in 1984 against the Kansas City Chiefs, which I don't know if something like that will ever happen again.
Let's get into you mentioned interceptions and picks. Let's get into the secondary. They are going to be thin, it looks like right now, as we're sitting here on a Friday, and we'll get the final word in a few hours from Mike Macdonald. But right now, their secondary looks like it's going to be pretty beat up against Pittsburgh.
So it looks like it could be, yeah. I mean, they're going to be without Nicky Manwari, and we've known that all week. But they, are leaving him on the IR, so leaving him on the active roster instead of putting him on IR. Kind of hoping if you put him on IR, he's got to miss 4 games. So they're kind of hoping maybe he doesn't have to miss 4 games, so they leave him on there. And I think we'll find out today exactly what they're doing with that. Devin Witherspoon, though, did not practice the last 2 days. I think there's a definite concern that he could miss the game Sunday. When you miss 1 day of practice, sometimes maybe it's not as big of a deal, but missing both days, it just being a DNP, and when you're leaving on Friday, I think there's some definite worry there. We didn't know about this, I guess, specifically when we talked to Mike Macdonald on Wednesday, so he hasn't talked about this, but the assumption obviously is that it was that play late in about midway through the game when he appeared to get injured on the Josh Jobe interception. And then Julian Love was something that crept up. He was limited on Wednesday and then suddenly out on Thursday. Sometimes that means the injury happened on Wednesday, and so he was practicing and then got hurt. That's why you're limited, and then he's out on Thursday. But don't really know about that either. But Julian Love was supposed to talk to the media on Thursday, and then he ended up not being available to talk on Thursday, and did not practice. So if both those guys were out, that's a definite issue going back there. And they're not super, they like some of the guys they have, behind at corner and safety, but there's not a lot of experience there really with some of the other guys. So you saw yesterday they elevated Shaquille Griffin, and I think that's a sign that there's at least some concern about Witherspoon, and so Shaquille Griffin could be one of your top 3 corners on Sunday, and they suddenly use him. And at safety, if they don't have him and Worry as well, does that mean Ty Okada? Does that mean Jarek Reed? Does it mean DeAnthony Bell? It probably means DeAnthony Bell. But those are all good questions, and not exactly ideally how they would want to go play against the guy who's been one of the best quarterbacks, obviously going to go down in history as one of the best quarterbacks ever.
The irony of it is the discussion all week was about Woolen being replaced by Jobe. Now they're going to have to probably, it sounds like, potentially now lean on Woolen a lot on Sunday.
For sure. I think even if Woolen and Jobe had switched spots, Woolen, I think, would still have just been the 3rd corner essentially and been out there when they're in nickel. So I don't know that this meant he was suddenly just not going to play at all. But yeah, that was kind of the, on Monday, the way that Mike Macdonald answered a question about Jobe, competing for more snaps and everything, obviously led to that. And then when he said, we'll see on whether Woolen will start on Wednesday, how much of this is trying to light a fire under Woolen. It's possible there's some of that, hey, you do have to realize that there's that kind of consequence there, and you need to bring it at practice as well. Not that I don't think he doesn't bring it at practice, that seems like anecdotally, it sounds like they always are, the times they've talked about it sounds like he does that, but he just, kind of has these misplays in these games for sure. And been going on for a couple of years now. And, I don't know if that's solved by just practicing more or what, but they obviously want to get to the bottom of that, because those are plays he was basically in position to make and then just kind of didn't make for whatever reason. And I think that's the mystifying thing to everybody. But yeah, if Devin Witherspoon can't play, I can't imagine that they still probably don't have a significant role for Rick Woolen, and that maybe they do anyway. Although maybe part of calling up Shaquille Griffin was to change some things around in the quarterback spot.
We talked about the secondary, but Reed popped up on the injury report. What do you think the status for him this weekend might be?
Yeah, I'd be a little more surprised if he couldn't play, I guess. The big guys up front, especially the veterans, often if they have anything, they kind of sit. They get those guys. Jaron Reed, he's a guy who kind of being 10th year now, who often if he has anything like during training camp, they give him the days off, that sort of thing. So, and you also sort of need them only for so many play. If he could be out there for 20 plays, he can still help you. So I guess I'm a little less worried about that one. The guys in the secondary, they tend to be out there every play. You don't necessarily want to be, putting a guy out there who's just 90% or something to try to do something, because that's when big plays can arise. So, we'll learn more today. They'll have to, around 1:30 p.m. or so is when Mike Condotta will meet with the media, and they'll hand us an injury report, and when we'll probably get some concrete answers, because they're going to fly to Pittsburgh this afternoon.
Well, it's not all doom and gloom, right? It sounds like we're trending in the direction that Uchenna Nwosu will make his debut on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. He practiced. He's been practicing fully, and there was always a hope that he'd get back. That was why they took him off the. I guess he was on the whatever he was on the P list. I've forgotten which one, but so he would not have to miss the first 4 games of the season was why they did that. They thought there was a chance he'd get back, and so this would maybe be even a game or 2 earlier. They had just hoped any time in this month, but it looks like he's doing well and trending. And again, that could be one of those things with the way the outside linebacker group kind of goes. They'll stick him in there, and they'll get him some snaps. I don't know if he'll be playing 40 snaps or something like that right out of the gate. I would imagine he would be on something of a snap count because he didn't do anything really in the preseason, and hasn't done any real football stuff since the last game of last season. So, just getting him back at all will help that.
You wrote about it, that the story that appears in Friday's Seattle Times. Pick up a hard copy or get a subscription, seattletime.com. You wrote about Sam Darnold and evaluating how he looked in his first game, talking to Clint Kubiak. I mean, the analytics coming out of the game appear that he had a fairly decent game. I think probably more so than people realize. How did they evaluate his first game? How should we look at Sam Darnold's first game as a Seahawk?
Yeah, I think the way it's viewed is that of what he could control, he did a pretty good job of that. Obviously, again, the numbers, the raw numbers are sort of what they are. I mean, only 230 yards of offense. It's hard to say anybody, I guess, on offense played really well. Even Jackson Smith and Jigba, you can kind of point to the fumble, obviously, and things like that, as despite what he did, and kind of say, he wishes he had a better game too. So, but I think it's just looking at it that way. I think referring to Pro Football Focus, and they gave him the 4th best passing grade out of any quarterback, which basically is just saying that of what in the passing game he could do, of finding an open receiver and getting the ball to him, that he was doing that. The problem obviously is that they didn't have enough plays overall, but they didn't have enough other receivers probably other than Smith and Jigba to get the ball to as well, and make it a little harder on the 49ers offense. But in a thing like that, last play is really hard, I think, for anybody to kind of grade. I mean, that's just kind of a thing that happens, and Nick Bosa obviously kind of wins that play, and whose fault is that or whatever. But Sam did say he should have tried to get rid of the ball a little more quickly, and maybe he down there when it's a little bit more condensed, the space is a little bit more condensed, realize that it's going to be more crowded down there. It's probably the one thing he would say he could do. But I think he didn't put the ball in harm's way. Other obviously than the fumble there, and he did lead him down the field there at the end. He did find Smith and Jigba for what could have been a game-turning play, and who knows what would have happened. They were going to have time for 3 or 4 more plays, maybe the way that was going. So they could easily have pulled that game out. So I think that's what a lot of people look at with Darnold. But for sure, the overall offense as an operation has to get better. They've got to run the ball better. They've got to hold on to it longer. I mean, 22 minutes. If they do things like that Sunday in Pittsburgh, I think it'll be an uglier score than it was this Sunday.
Bob, should we be keeping more of an eye on this running back situation, and who in fact is the starting or leading running back for this team moving forward?
Well, I mean, I don't really feel like it's they're just going to go with one or the other, and the other guy's never going to play. I don't think it's really that. I think if you go back and look, I think it was basically going to be an even split between Walker and Charbonnet. And then the main reason that the snaps end up being different is Charbonnet basically played the entire series when they went to the 2-minute at the end of the first half, and that's kind of been his role the last couple of years, as being the third down 2-minute back. And he was basically on the field for all of that. Otherwise, I think they basically played similarly. They appeared to be in general kind of trading off by series. And then it was Walker who they had on the field on the last series. Obviously, the last play of the game, he's on the field there. But the series when they got down for the field goal, he was the one they were handing the ball to mostly. Before the fourth down, the controversial fourth down and everything, whether they should have gone for it or not. But Walker was out there then, so I don't think there was anything that showed like there's any loss of confidence in Walker, real changing of the guard. I think they view those guys as pretty similar. And that they can get things done with both of them. What I would say is, again, the analytics sort of showed they used Walker a little bit more in their gap scheme or when they were kind of running between the tackles, and they used Charbonnet a little bit more when they were going with their outside zone stuff, which is what they want to sort of be their which is what they have said anyway, was going to be their primary sort of running attack. And so it appeared that was kind of a little bit of a difference in how they were using those two guys. If they want to go more outside zone, does that mean they just use Charbonnet all the time with that? I don't think so. I don't think they would do it that way. And maybe it's just sort of how the game went or how the series has went. But there was that difference. And, if they do outside zone more this week, which I think they're going to try to do, does that mean Charbonnet plays a little more? Maybe.
Last thing for you, Bob, how do you think this secondary room has been this week? What do you think the message is leading up to this game Sunday against Pittsburgh? Do they try to steal a playbook out of the 49ers and try and agitate DK Metcalf as much as possible?
Yeah, it's interesting. Nobody's really wanted to talk about that a whole lot this week, it seems like, with DK, and maybe part of that's coming off a loss too, and it's kind of hard to be, I guess, sort of jocular or whatever. But it's really interesting that way, because obviously the times when we've seen that happen with DK, it's with guys who I don't think really knew him. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, who ironically is now a teammate of his with the Steelers, but it's been guys like that, or obviously Diamador Lenore, who we saw last week with the 49ers, or Fred Warner or whatever, guys like that. In this case, those guys know him, so I maybe it would come off weird, if Julian Love just suddenly starts trying to scream at him in some way to get him off. Maybe DK doesn't even take that seriously if that happens. So, but it certainly will be fun kind of seeing that matchup. But we always make such a big deal out of guys playing against their other teams, and a lot of times, maybe things have changed enough that they're going against guys they don't know or whatever. But in this case, when it's a receiver going specifically up against a lot of times you are just matched one-on-one, as a receiver, and it could be against Reek Woolen or Shaquille Griffin was with him his first couple of years, right? With the Seahawks going way back. Some of these guys who he does know and does have relationships with, and who he's gone up with against a lot in practice. So they do know each other's games well. So that will be an interesting subplot for sure.
The Last Word with Bob Condotta, Seattle Times. Follow him on X at @BCondotta. His weekly appearance with us on this Friday, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny Pale Ale, Bodie's Offer, Rogers Pilsner, Georgetown's Tavern Beer, Tasting Room and Beer Garden, open daily, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit them, georgetownbeer.com. Safe travels to Pittsburgh, Bob, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
Again, every Friday with Bob Condotta, The Last Word, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Great beer, Bodie's Offer, their new Tavern Beer, Rogers Pilsner, their Manny's Pale Ale. A great choice for your football viewing this weekend, georgetownbeer.com. Friday Football Tailgate Show wrapping up. Big thanks to Chris Egan from earlier today, who joins us every single Friday. Our appearances together with him and Jim, brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. Todd Milles, VarsityWaNews.com. If you love high school football coverage and high school football sports, a great spot there. Todd's new venture, VarsityWaNews.com. PuckSports handicapper, Troy Wins, TroyWins.com. And again, every Friday, The Last Word with Bob Condotta. More football, too. Get you caught up on. shows this week. We do a ton of them for you, so it all gets kind of lost in the shuffle. Be sure to check out Rob Staten's weekly appearance. He comes out on Wednesdays. Rob Staten Football there on YouTube. Also, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. He joins me on Wednesdays. Coug fans out there getting ready for North Texas. Going to be like Jim and bet against the Cougs. The Old Crimson podcast is out. Of course, part of Wednesday's overall show. You can listen to it there or on all podcast platforms or check it out on YouTube. Just search Puck Sports and you'll find the Old Crimson podcast out this week. Plenty of other shows as well. Our weekly visit with Ryan Divish talking Mariners baseball comes out on Wednesdays. And yesterday's appearance with Mitch Levy, Mitch Unfiltered podcast, KJ Arntz, is out as well. We wrap up every show, including Friday Football Tailgate Show, which is brought to you by Georgetown Brewery and Flat Stick Pub, with Hey What the Puck. Hey What the Puck is brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. They are your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. We didn't get into this much, a little bit at the end there with Condotta and DK Metcalf. I'm a huge DK Metcalf fan. I was always leery of how much money that they would probably give him and didn't think that probably with how they wanted to change offensively and their philosophy, would it be prudent, wise to give him the amount of money that he was seeking. You know, once they traded him, if you remember that trade, when they sent him to the Steelers, it was a 2025 second-round pick and a seventh-round pick, which they ended up using that second-round pick to ship to Tennessee to move, and their third-round pick to move up in 35th overall to select Nick Ewanworry. The Steelers ended up signing him to a 5-year, $150 million extension. He's the fourth highest paid wide receiver on an average basis at $33 million and guaranteed money at $60 million. But the player himself, the way he played, the attitude in which he played with, the work ethic in which he stepped foot on the mound. It's going to be a hard watch for me and probably some other Seahawks fans of watching him on the other side of the field. He's an immense competitor, a tremendous athlete, a tremendous football player. I don't think that this organization and this offensive staff ever got the best out of DK. Does DK share some blame in that? Obviously. But they had if you're as old as me, and remember all the wide receivers that have come through this organization, they never had a DK Metcalf. And all we ever asked was, can we please have a DK Metcalf? They had him, and then they decided they didn't want him anymore. And my biggest worry, one of them, with this football team is they don't have him. In fact, they don't really have a great offensive core in terms of their wide receivers. Horton is unproven, didn't even have a target last week. Maybe he turns into something. I want to be proven wrong about Cooper Kupp, but I think Cooper Kupp's a shot fighter. But I want to be wrong. I want to look back on this weeks from now, months from now, and say, I was wrong about Cooper Kupp. Jackson Smith-Njigba was a very good player, very good, but he's not an outside number one guy. He does his damage inside in the middle. You need a thoroughbred on the outside, and they don't have a thoroughbred on the outside. That thoroughbred was DK Metcalf. I miss him. That's all I'm saying. Just, I miss him. Wish he was still here. That's Hey What the Puck. It's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Again, if you have any restoration issues, any problems at all, save the stress, save the headache. Let them take care of it at Restoration One. So any damage to your commercial or a residence, personal property, let Restoration One take care of you. Make them your first call. 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. For those playing Puck Survivor, make sure you make your picks. Remember, grand prize, $500. Second place, gift card to John Howie's Steak. Third place to Georgetown Brewery. Fourth place to Flat Stick Pub. Deadline Sunday at 10 a.m. For those playing Puck Survivor, go to pucksports.com. Thank you for watching and listening today. Thank you to all the sponsors: Limback Lumber, Clean Streak, Brotherton Cadillac, Angry Beaver, Georgetown Brewery, and Flat Stick Pub, and Restoration One. Find today's Daily Puck Drop up on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel. hit the like button. Also find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms there as well. And visit PuckSports.com. More information there. You'll see at the top of the website the link to join to become Puck's Posse. What do you get with Puck's Posse? Well, you support everything that we do here daily. Plus, you get bonus shows every single week. All right, everyone have a tremendous weekend. We'll see you on Monday. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!